Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I'm your host, Emily Hayden. How are you guys doing today? Has it been a good day for you? I'm not going to lie, it's been an amazing day for me. It's a Saturday in San Diego, and it's one of those Saturdays that is straight out of a movie. The skies are blue, the sun is shining, the vibe is incredible. These kinds of days remind me why I moved here. I woke up this morning, had an incredible creative writing session, which I do every single morning. I had a really great lift, got some work in, and then I could not wait to come and record this episode because as I was wrapping up my week yesterday, I was really reflecting on the conversations that I was having with my coaching clients and my mentorship clients. And we talked about so many different topics that I thought it would be fun to take the 10 takeaways from this week's coaching calls and share them with you. So today we're going to cover a bunch of different topics. I really feel like there will be something for everyone here. And I also have some fun reminders mixed in the mix. The first one is that I got the edited version of the meditation back and it is ready for download. So if you guys were waiting on that from one of the previous episodes that I shared, go ahead and click the link down below and I will send the meditation directly to you. It's a morning meditation that was taken out of a new program that I've been working on, which is Evolve the Lifestyle. So it really teaches you how to live the lifestyle of constant evolution. And so this meditation is from that program. So if you guys want to check it out, it's for free. You guys can just download it immediately through the link below. So let's dive in. The first thing I wanted to share with you guys is to stop making things so complicated. We make everything so complicated by overthinking and over-planning and over-stressing and over-analyzing. And the truth is, number one, not everything is meant to be understood. Number two, if you could see all of the steps ahead in perfect clarity before you did anything and knew exactly how everything was going to go, that would be great. Like we would all love that safety and security and that knowingness, right? But the truth is when you're on a path that is aligned in your deepest truth, there are often going to be times where the only step that you can see is the one directly in front of you. And the only knowingness that you have is that where you're at right now is exactly where you're meant to be. So just a kind reminder to recognize and simply notice if you happen to be overcomplicating everything. You know, even something like, this was actually in reference to one of my clients' spiritual connections and really wanting to connect deeply with the divine, with God, and really understanding that my client was making it this task, or it had to look a certain way. That's what I was trying to think of, that it had to look a certain way that she had previously experienced. And there are time together, we were able to really just drop in deeply with each other. And the reminder that she got, which is a great reminder for me and something I wanted to share with you guys as well, is that it's really just so simple. Just be honest, be truthful with exactly where you're at, share everything that's on your heart, continue that communication throughout the day, and know that, especially for something like that, your spirituality, the divine essence within, however you personally understand it, it's within you and it's always accessible. So don't externalize something that is an internal job. So again, just notice if you're overcomplicating anything in your life, and rather than trying to do something through effort or force or resistance, really seek to just come back home within yourself, tune in to the divine essence within, and come from an aligned place for, no matter what it is that you're going after, whether it's a spiritual connection, it's a goal in your business or in your fitness. Stop thinking about everything and get present and just be in the moment. And in that moment, drop into your deepest truth and express that however that is. So if that's your deepest truth and commitment to your fitness and your health, then maybe it looks like you starting a program or committing to the program that you started and never actually followed through with. If it's your business, then maybe it looks like stopping the over planning and over analyzing, predicting what's going to happen in Q2, Q3, and Q4, and really just reeling yourself back in and asking, what is the one thing that is going to move the needle forward today in my business? What is something that needs to happen? Which sometimes is not you doing something new. Sometimes it's actually nurturing the business, the clientele, the relationships that you already have. So don't forget, as you have such a good desire to go out there and get it, don't forget to appreciate, love, respect, nourish, take care of what you already do have. in your business, in your life, in your friendships, and everything. So, okay, number 2. The second thing is to be deeply honest with oneself. We have to put down everything that is blocking our connection to our deepest truth. So what I mean by this is that sometimes it's hard to take an honest look at yourself if you have ideas or you have beliefs or you have past experiences that are acting as a wall between you and what you say and what you think and what your deepest truth actually is. So here's something that may help. If you feel like you may be experiencing this, simply just ask yourself, do I actually believe this to be true for my life? Do I actually want this to be true for my life? Because with this, maybe you have a deep truth to own your own business one day, but you actually don't believe that it's true for you because maybe you actually tried a business and it didn't work out and you felt like a failure. Then you labeled yourself a failure. You told yourself all these stories that you can't do it and everyone else can. So now it feels like your truth, but that's actually not your truth. That is your lived experience that you attached labels and identities to. That was never meant to be that. It was just meant to be a lesson for you. It was meant to help you learn and to help you grow and develop, probably so that you can be an incredible business owner. You know, no matter what it is, if it's sports or business or relationships, I know it's really hard when you put your all into something and it doesn't work out, and it's easy to feel like a failure. But if you choose instead just to have the perspective that everything is here for your growth, everything that's here is a lesson, then I believe that you'll be able to take those things without attaching an identity to it. And then once you do that, you can move throughout life experiencing these, what feels like a high when you start the new business and get a bunch of sales, or what feels like a low when you launch a program and nobody signs up. You get to really dive deep and learn a lot in those moments. Okay. What is the program? What is it offering? Is it clear? Maybe ask people around you, what do you think this program is? And that's actually a really big piece of awareness. Ask other people. If you're into business and you're releasing something, ask them what they think that you do or that you offer. And it will become abundantly clear to you if people are unsure about what you're even offering. That was such a big awakening moment for me in my own business, is when I, in my head, felt like I talked about it all the time, felt like it was very clear. And then I'd get these questions thinking, where are these questions coming from? But as a business owner, you have to understand that's going to be reflected if you're not clearly communicating what it is that you're offering or your services or your products. So yeah, it's just really important to identify what your deepest truth actually is, and what are the blockages, what are the stories, what are the things that are blocking you from love, from success, from business. So yeah, rather than looking at it at the surface layer, ask yourself, could there be a potential block here? And if so, you guys should go listen to one of my most recent episodes on the 10 roadblocks that are keeping you from your breakthrough. Number 3 is apologizing for a reaction when instead you should be holding a boundary. So this was a really good chat that I had with one of my clients, and I wanted to share it because I was listening to what she was sharing, and she was sharing how a friend had responded to her, and she said that it felt a little triggering, and she responded kind of quickly, and she should be better about her response. But as I was listening to her story, what I heard from the story was that this person was actually disrespectful to her. And in that, she felt this level of anger, of what she labeled a trigger. And in reality, I was able to really reflect to her and say, you tell me what you think about this, but it actually sounds to me like this person crossed a boundary with you. And that's that feeling that was arising. And upon further reflection, she agreed and realized, wow, yeah, this is actually a boundary of mine. And I don't like when people speak to me this way. And that's really what that was. So getting really clear on your feelings and what you're feeling and what you're processing, I feel like will be incredibly helpful for you to navigate things, because I think sometimes in the personal development world, you think that everything has to be sunshine and rainbows, or that you can't have a reaction, or that anger is not okay, or that if you get angry by something, then that means that you have more work to do. And the truth is, we are human beings, and we came here to experience, feel, express, and go through the full range of emotions. They are all healthy. They are all good. Now, what you do with them is very different. So you feeling the anger and then acting out of anger and trying to harm somebody because of that with your words or your actions or whatever, that's a different story. We are always in control of our response to things. However, we can feel and express in a healthy way every emotion, including anger. And I think it's really important to recognize, to first just tune in with yourself, right? When you have recognized that some strong emotion has been elicited within you, to rather than responding right away, talking back, sending a text, screaming, whatever it might look like, take some time for yourself and tune in and say, okay, like, what am I actually feeling here? What about this is upsetting me? And how is it reflecting something within me? And sometimes it's as simple as you holding a boundary. So boundaries are something that I thought I was really good at for a long time until I came across some they're labeled, what's that term? I think they're just labeled boundary destroyers in this book called Boundary Boss by Terry Cole. And once I read that, I realized that that's why I was struggling, because I wasn't dealing with normal people who respect each other and listen to each other. And when you set a boundary, they follow it. I was really dealing with something labeled a boundary destroyer in that book. And once I realized that, I realized, okay, this actually requires a different protocol to deal with these kinds of people. And it really helped me become crystal clear on, just where my boundaries are, what feels good for me, what doesn't feel good for me, what I'm available for, what I'm not available for. And leading with that has been really helpful in my relationships and even with myself. There are some times where maybe I'll come out of my own boundary, and upon self-reflection, I'll realize I need a boundary there actually for myself, whether it's with a phone or in relationships or in my habits. And so boundaries really are an internal job. It starts with you, and it starts with you holding and respecting your own boundaries. And then when you're able to do that, you can clearly communicate and hold those boundaries for others. And when they don't, follow or respect those boundaries, that's totally their choice. Everyone has free will. A boundary is not saying you have to do this. It's the invitation of, this is what works for me. And if you want to meet me here, awesome. And if you don't, that's great too. We don't have to align in this way. We don't have to communicate in this way, whatever that looks like. So little tangent on boundaries, but check out the book Boundary Boss by Terry Cole. I've mentioned it to you a million times. And if you haven't got it yet, you need to. Number 4 is the energy of lack causing over planning, overthinking, a lot of anxiousness, and getting lost in the thoughts. So this was a client that has a lot on her plate, and she has so many things that she needs to think about and plan for, except she was really asking how to stay in the energy of abundance, even though you have all these realistic things going on, including moments of not having all the resources that you need, right? So someone who's looking to shift the perspective from lack to abundance, from scarcity to that abundant mentality. And the number one thing is to realize that your energy is everything. So if your energy in the internal state is anxious, it's elevated in a negative way, there's lots of racing thoughts, that is a notification for you to take some time and regulate your nervous system. So the number one way that I've found to get through these moments and even to transform the energy of lack into abundance is to tune in with your internal state, to do some nervous system regulation, whether that's breath work, cold plunging, being in the sunlight, grounding your feet into Mother Earth, taking some time for meditation, taking time in journaling to process and prayer. There's so many different ways that you can regulate your nervous system, but just realizing that that's the most important thing that you could do, because you in a dysregulated state, your mind, your thoughts, even where your thoughts go, like the journey that they go on is going to look very different than the regulated version of you, the version of you that has taken a deep exhale. I'm sure you all have had those moments, whether it's in a yoga class, a meditation, or just some sort of guided session where finally you actually sink in, you relax and you exhale. It's like the best feeling ever. And then you have this awareness that, wow, I have not felt this relaxed and peaceful and at home in a while. So regulate your nervous system, and then be intentional about what truths you want to believe, what the perspective is that you want to have on the world. Meaning, so after you've regulated your nervous system, rather than letting your mind get caught up in all the what ifs and the overthinking, realign yourself with your foundational truths. So I spoke on foundational truths recently. And with that, it's what you believe is possible about the world, what you believe is possible for you, and what you believe for your life. So if I was over planning and getting lost in anxiousness, I would regulate my nervous system, and then I would take some time, tune in, and I would speak out loud my foundational truths. These could also be known as your affirmations. And maybe it's something like, every next step will appear for me as I keep moving forward, right? And that's just trusting that as you take steps, the next one will appear. And that's really what I found in my life. There's so much that I can't see ahead, but I am pretty clear on just the next step. And I've learned that if I'll just keep taking that next step while regulating my nervous system, while believing in abundance for my life and good things in my future, and the fact that I'm divinely guided and supported, and that I'm not alone, and that the forces of this world are here for me and to help me achieve my goals and my vision and my soul mission. Because I believe that, it makes walking through the unknown, or even moments of maybe fear arising, it allows me to walk through those moments much better. I'm no longer controlled by fear. And I'm not perfect. I have moments where it arises, but I have all these tools of how to regulate and how to realign myself back in the energy of abundance that I want to welcome in. Also, Abraham Esther Hicks is incredible. She really helped me rewire my mind quite a bit. I would just search this YouTube channel called Abundant Creation on YouTube. And she does these like rampages with this music in the background. It's very motivating, inspiring, and just helps you to simplify things and to believe positively for yourself. Like just the way that she talks and the way that she describes everything makes it seem so simple, and it feels like a reminding. And I found that when you're doing a lot of inner personal work and you're reminded of these truths, that's all that it is a remembering of what's actually true. And as you remember what's true, you have that opportunity to alchemize and transmute the lies that got in the way, the lies from, all the ways that they get there, childhood experiences that you've had, conditioning from society, etc. Number 5, you do not have to accept the labels and the boxes that society has provided for you. You can create your own motherfucking box, except don't put a ceiling on it. Let it be an open-ended container that continuously expands. You are a full adult with full autonomy. You get to create any experience it is that you wish to have. You get to say that this works for you and this doesn't work for you. So anyone that is trying to push you down, squeeze you in, and force you into this box or into a label that's actually not in alignment with your deepest truth, you could just say, no thanks, and you can create your own way. You can pave your own path. I find a lot of people when it comes to the spiritual development, there's been a lot of people that have been turned off from pursuing God in their own way because they've been told that to pursue God, it only looks this way and it only looks this way. And you have to believe A through Z, all of these things. And because of this box and label and the way that it looks to them, and because that doesn't feel aligned for them, they go away from God completely. Yet what I found is that people who do that, they typically start to feel this stirring in their heart and their soul and their solar plexus maybe, where it's this spiritual desire for spiritual nourishment, and they don't know where to go. And they don't know where to go because they say, I can't go there and I can't go there and I can't go there because I don't fit their label. I don't fit their box. I just don't fit in there. And they're really looking for their path and where they do fit in. And what I've been able to help a lot of people understand is that I really do believe that a spiritual journey is so unique and it's so individual because every single one of us has our own thumbprint. I think that's freaking mind-blowing that we all have this incredible thumbprint that is unique to every individual. No two individuals have the same. So for us to think that all of us are supposed to fit in some box with that it has to look a certain way, I just think is absolutely silly. And I think that if we tune into the divine creator who created the most magnificent piece of art called the earth and also called the human, I just think that it would be crazy to think that it was all created to be the exact same, to express the same, to feel the same, to be connected the same. I think we're different on purpose, for a purpose. And so I encourage the differences, and I encourage people to go wherever they feel called to get the message that they need. I really feel like no matter where you are and where you go, you'll get the message, you'll get the lesson that you need. And hey, maybe the message and lesson is, I want you to go in there and see why this is not for you. I want you to tangibly feel it. Or maybe you kind of think that's going to happen, and then you go in there and it ends up being something that fulfills and satisfies your soul like you've never felt before. You just really never know. So just give yourself the freedom to go on your own spiritual exploration, your own spiritual journey where you find what nourishes your soul. And often when I'm chatting to clients about this, everyone comes to me from such different backgrounds. I help them first identify, when are moments when you've felt spiritually nourished? When have you felt spiritual connection? What was the moment? Where were you? Who were you around? What was the conversation? What was happening? Because if we can identify those and you haven't felt anything like that in a long time, then maybe we can revisit some of those spaces. Maybe you can open the door, so to speak, for the divine to come through in those spaces again. And maybe you try it and it's no longer working for you. Maybe there's something new to try, but that's the idea. That's the energy to get in, is this excited, curious exploration of what's there with this deepest heart intent of wanting to connect, wanting to feel what's real, wanting to experience the real thing. And I feel like if you'll give yourself that freedom, that permission slip, then you get to go on this amazing adventure and journey. And I know that experience is something that brings you knowingness. So rather than saying, oh yeah, like I think I believe in this, having zero experience, really just believing that because a lot of people say that, there's no deep anchor to it. But for me, where I've gotten my deep anchor of like, I believe that I believe that I believe, is from my own experiences. Like no one can ever take that away from me. I don't need anyone to understand or even know about my experiences. They were for me. They were private, right? Some of them I might share. Some of them I might never share. And those experiences have really grounded and rooted me so much and make me feel so good. And part of it is that I know this. And that means that I know like not much else, but I do know, like, I know that God is real. I know that God is real. I know that he's involved. I know that source, divine, creator, whatever, however you want to label that in the way that makes sense to your own individual psyche, that is such a driving force of this world that is always around, even if we can't see it. So I feel like today's the day of tangents because these are being longer than I had planned, but let's move on. Number 6, often when people are doing a lot of spiritual development and work, they have such a heightened level of self-awareness that if you're not careful, it can become a little negative, because I'm getting the feedback quite often that as people are rising in their awareness in general, raising their self-awareness, they're like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how negative I was to myself. I didn't realize what my words were. Like I'm watching myself say these things about myself that are not nice, that are not creating what I want to experience in the world. I didn't realize how negative my friendships were and how soul-sucking these relationships were, right? When you're going and doing this deep inner work, often that awareness, it can feel like a lot. It can feel heavy because now it's like the sunglasses came off and you can very clearly see everything that's in front of you. And sometimes it is not what you want to experience. Sometimes it is scary and dark and you just realize, wow, I'm totally going down the wrong path. I just want to encourage you guys to be really careful to not allow yourself to go into the cycle of self-judgment and shame. Because the truth is, if you knew better, you would have done better. And the truth is, this awareness that you're having is a gift. And I really believe that as the student is ready, the teacher appears. The teacher in this example being the awareness, the internal awareness that you're now having. And so I believe if you are coming into the awareness that these relationships around you are toxic, it's because you are capable of changing, leaving, getting out of those situations. I don't believe that you're going to come into an awareness of something that you are not fully capable of handling, of walking out in your life. So I really do see it as a gift. It's like the divine God, universe, whatever you believe, is coming and showing you this is what's holding you back from where you want to go. These are the things that are keeping you stuck, that are dragging you down, that are sucking the life out of you. And if you're ready and willing, which you probably are if you're having the awareness, then it's time to make some changes so that you can be the fullest expression of who you are. Number 7 is about co-creating your experience. And I love to talk about this one because a very tangible way to show you how you are the co-creator of your experience is by using something as simple as social media. So I had a client who really was not enjoying her experience of social media, and I helped her realize that she's actually the co-creator of that experience herself and the algorithm. She gets to co-create the experience that she has. So this is a tip for you guys too. If you are not enjoying your social media, number 1, you may actually need a detox. But number 2, start unfollowing as much as possible. And if you have personal relationships where you don't want to cause any sort of unnecessary hurt feelings or drama or something like that, then there's this lovely little button called the mute button, and you can mute their stories and their posts and anything, their notes. It's great so that you can just simply be detoxed from that kind of content without causing any sort of strife. No one knows if you muted them, which is just wonderful. So mute and unfollow, go on a spree. And then what I want you to do is I want you to type into the search bar and search for the things that bring you joy. So for me, it would be things like travel and adventure, beautiful spots in nature. It would be singer and songwriters, music. It would be, I don't really look at food much anymore, but usually just landscape, travel, adventure, beautiful spots, music, and some funny videos and dog videos and things like that. So I want you to intentionally do this, spend 20 minutes on your Instagram to do this, right? Intentionally tell the algorithm what it is that you want to see by spending time on things that bring you joy. I also really like quote pages and stuff like that. So I may search something in regards to like spiritual development or, evolving, personal growth, that kind of thing, and spend time on it so that the next time you log in, your algorithm, social media will show you more of that. And so what's cool is after you've taken time to be intentional about what you're liking, what you're commenting on, what you're engaging with, what you're choosing to spend your precious focus, your attention, and your eyesight on, the algorithm will give you more of that. And I love it because it's such a tangible example of the same thing in life. If you want to create a different experience in your life, you have got to be so careful about what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're engaging with, who and what you're allowing into your environment. So I feel like this social media example will give you a really good way to practice how to co-create your experience. And then once you notice the shift, once you realize that you're actually really loving your time on social media again, you'll realize that that's the potential for all the other areas of your life as well. Number 8 is being resistant to new experiences. So whether it's something like meditation or yoga, I had a client that wasn't too keen of my yoga recommendation, and now it is a staple in her life and she loves it and it brings her so much joy. And the purpose of me helping my clients get into something like yoga is if you're not already into it, then 1, it's an incredible place to just love on your body in a very physical way. It teaches you how to tune into where in your body you're carrying stress. So it's really strengthening the mind-body connection, and it's strengthening your connection with yourself. When you realize in each yoga class, maybe you're going once a week or once, every few weeks, when you realize, wow, I really store tension in my shoulders all the time, then what will happen is as you're going throughout your life, you'll realize, oh, I'm holding tension even right now. And you'll learn how to let go of it. So, and not just that, but the moments in something like yoga, like at the end of a session when your body's all stretched out and you lay down in Shavasana and you finally get that deep exhale. Often, sometimes emotions can surface and things can surface that were always there. They were always underneath the surface, but they were hiding, I guess, deep within the resistance that you were holding. So if your muscles are super tight, it's acting as this protective shield to protect the truth of what's actually there. And so often what you'll find is, wow, I didn't realize that I was carrying that with me throughout my entire day. I didn't even know that I was thinking about that. I didn't know that I was still emotional or feeling this way about that thing, right? So it really is just a beautiful journey of self-discovery, self-growth. And it's a really beautiful way to love on your body as well. Really just stretching and nourishing your body, taking things nice and slow. So yeah, I had to mention that because she had resistance to yoga and now she loves it and she's getting just a lot of benefits out of it. And then another client, meditation wasn't really her thing. And she felt she didn't connect to meditation. And then finally, after having a really beautiful experience of meditation, I remember seeing her eyes. It's like her eyes opened up wide and she thought to herself, what else is here? Like there's more here. And watching it as a coach and a mentor is just so exciting because it's like you watch the light go on inside of your head. And it feels when that happens, and I've had this happen a few times, it feels like this client's about to become aware to their superpowers within, which we all have within us. We're just not taught how to access them. So it becomes very exciting for me. But this overall point in number 8 is just to notice the resistance that you have to try different things, to sign up for the program, to go and try a new class, and simply overcome that resistance by going and giving yourself the experience and letting yourself decide for yourself. That was a lot of saying yourself, but that's okay. Also, don't forget there's a free meditation below, so check it in the show notes. Number 9 is actually a lesson from my own personal experience recently, and just throughout this year, it's been such a big lesson for me so far. And it's tuning into what the flow state feels like. The flow state is clear, it's aligned, it's purposeful. It's when you drive up and you think to yourself, I'll just go left here. And there's a parking spot that's like beautifully, perfectly there for you. That's for free in San Diego. It's when you're on your routine, your regimen, you happen to finish breakfast at the right time. So you have transition time before your next call. It's just the day when everything seems to be flowing really, really well. And that kind of flow state is so precious. It's so magical when you're in it. Protect it, protect that focus. Don't let distractions come into that. And what I've also found is that it makes me laugh to think about the contrast of the opposite days when maybe mentally I'm actually motivated. I'm feeling good. I'm inspired. I want so badly to be in flow state. And yet it's like nothing is working out. All of the technology around me, the phone, the computer, the websites I'm on trying to update, my programs, nothing's working, like literally at all. Somebody cancels, it throws off my routine. This happens, right? It's just the day when it feels like thing after thing, everything goes wrong. The other day I went to record the meditation and I recorded the whole thing. I loved it. I thought it was great. And apparently the audio did not record at all. And it felt like someone punched me. I was like, oh, no, that hurts. And so I said, okay, I'll just redo it. And then I start and contraction starts. And I was on a mission. I was like, okay, look, I won't let that bring me down or discourage me. I'll just go somewhere else. So I get in the car and I go up to this really beautiful spot in San Diego, really beautiful view. And I put my tripod out and I'm watching my tripod in front of me because I was recording audio from afar. And this guy on this massive lawnmower comes over the hill, like towards my tripod. I'm like, no. And I go out there and I grab my tripod. And just long story short, that day, like no matter what I did, no matter how much I thought to myself, you can always turn the day around. Like I almost laugh at my own optimism sometimes because sometimes it really works out for me. And other times it's like absolutely hilarious. And it's like, Emily, just take the day for yourself. Just let things be what they are. And I think that's really what I've learned is that you cannot force flow state. So when you're in flow state, absolutely do it. And you want to always set yourself up for the potential of flow state being there. Like there are times where I'll be in flow state for days, weeks, and it feels incredible. And, you always want to set yourself up for that. But if it's just not happening, like learn when to just let go and surrender to the day that's right in front of you. And I've really learned too how to have just more balance in my life overall because it happened on a Monday. This Monday, I came home from the gym in the morning. I finished training by like 10 and I was almost falling asleep on the way home. And I just tuned in. I was like, wow, my body is exhausted. Like mentally, it's a Monday. I want to work. I got up at 5:30. I really want to have this great Monday and my body just needed the rest. So I slept and I did not set an alarm. I played nap roulette, as I like to call it. I slept for an hour and a half on a Monday after a full night's sleep. Like that is how tired my body was. So I gave my body the rest and it was, just really helpful for me to contrast that with like the next couple of days where I was just in such a flow state. I got everything done and more. It felt effortless. So really long way to say, recognize flow state, Recognize when it's not happening. Don't try to force it and just surrender to what the day has for you. Number 10, we are in the land, the generation of opportunity. Opportunity is literally all around us all the time. If opportunity was an energy, it would be enveloping us all the time, waiting for people to realize what was right in front of them and waiting to co-create with you. I really do see opportunity in general as this like energy that we get to create something with. And I really experienced that in my own life when, it's like you could sit there and hope and pray that an opportunity comes to you, or you could go out and create different opportunities and see what ends up taking off. And that's the thing with, I think, owning your own business too, is that sometimes you have an idea of what's going to work well, what you enjoy, what services or products, are going to do the best. But if you'll actually be willing to just try a few different things, you'll see that some things will just naturally take off really well with not much effort compared to other things that you've poured your entire heart and soul into that aren't working as well. So with this, I just want to say, if you're thinking about opportunity in regards to business, friendships, relationships, first ask yourself, are you putting yourself in the rooms where these things have the potential to happen? And I'm talking relationships, right? I think relationships are one of the most important things that you could do for your personal life, your business, overall fulfillment in general. But life really does come back to the relationships that you have. So are you creating opportunities for new relationships? Maybe your next business partner is at that business mastermind event that you've been wanting to go to, but you're not sure if you should go, right? Maybe it's not even the teacher, the presenter, but maybe it's just someone else that's going that you could partner with on some awesome brand and project. There's so many little things that we never see when we're only focused on the end goal. Right? We're only focused on X amount of money in the business, X amount, per year. But if we really look at what would make this the most aligned, the most fun, the most exciting, like what would make me excited to get out of bed in the morning, I think that we can take that excitement, that curiosity, that opportunity and create something really beautiful with it and create a journey that's fun to run and to walk sometimes too. But we really are on this journey. And in life, when you're going down this journey, I think too many people get focused on the end goal. And if you do that, you're going to miss so much of the beauty that's available for you in the journey. People go to an event and they only want to talk to the speaker or the person that's presenting, but it's like you may have the most incredible people sitting next to you and you have no idea who they are. If you would just take some time and introduce yourself, be proactive, be intentional. So no matter what it is in your life, are you taking the time to be intentional to create space for opportunities to come into your life? Or are you putting your head down and you're so focused in all the work that you're doing that you're never taking time to look up and see what's right in front of you or to make a shift when it's time to make a shift? So don't get so tunnel visioned that you close yourself off to opportunities. And then because we're talking about this, just make sure that any opportunity that you take is a full body yes. I remember at the beginning of this year, I always kind of just remind myself as the years start, because I know that's when the requests and the invitations come in to be a part of this project, go to this event, do this retreat, right? And I told myself nothing less than a full body yes. So if someone asks me to do something and it's not a full body yes for me, it's just going to be a no. And it's interesting because I did have an opportunity come beginning of the year and it felt like yeah, And because of that, even though I couldn't really identify what the holdback was from it being like a full body yes, I said no. And a couple of days later, I got my full body yes invitation. And that was to the Untamed experience in Costa Rica, which I think I've shared with you guys a few times now in April. And that for me, from the moment I heard about it, it was a full body yes. And that just really clearly gave me that tangible example of what happens when you say no to a good thing. You say yes to the most aligned thing. That is the thing that will fulfill you at the deepest level. So I could not be more excited for that. And shameless plug, if you guys want to come, I'm guest facilitating in Costa Rica, April 21st to the 27th, I believe are the dates. And you can just go to the link down below, theuntamedfestival.com. And I do have a code for you guys, Emily Hayden. So that's $150 off of your ticket. It's multiple days in Costa Rica, all women's event. It's a sober event. So yeah, no substances. And it's a retreat by day and a festival by night. So all the retreat stuff like workshops, meditation, breath work, and then a festival by night, meaning DJs, music, dancing, glitter. And then we're regulating our nervous systems at the end of every single night before we get a full night's sleep for the next day, waking up feeling refreshed and energized and eating organic food. So it's going to be an amazing time. It's, I'll put all the details down below in case you guys want to join us last minute. I think we're down to about 30 spots left. And I'll be guest facilitating 2 morning sessions throughout the retreat. And then I'll be attending the rest of the retreat for fun, for my own personal growth and connection and to connect with everyone there. So I'm really looking forward to that. Alrighty, don't forget your free meditation is down below. If you enjoyed today's show, do me a favor and rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. If you want to send it to a friend, you can text it to them, share it to your stories, tag me. I love seeing what you guys are doing as you're listening. Some of you walk, some of you are training, some of you are with your children or puppies. I love to see just the landscape of where you're at. It gives me perspective as I'm recording. So thank you guys, and I hope to see you in an episode shortly, very soon. Okay, bye.